So non-customers could be like, I mean, there's a first simple example. I mean, it's people who should be your customers. I mean, who could be your customers, right? And then I'll give you a more interesting examples of people who are not at all your customers. So I mean, people will be very easily familiar with Nintendo, and they started with a little game called Game Boy, right? Game Boy, and you can already see what is the non-customer when you say, oh, we developed a Game Boy. So if you developed a Game Boy, this is for whom? This is for, I mean, boys, right? So their next innovation was to develop games for girls. So they had a whole new set of products, which were now not targeted to men, but actually to boys, but to girls. And of course, when the whole kind of video game competition started to heat up with Xbox and PlayStation coming in the game with like very sophisticated, you know, games and visuals and sound and special effects. Nintendo came up with a Wii, and the Wii was not targeting the traditional gamers, not boys, not girls. They were targeting families. And people playing in groups around a screen. And now they have applications that they sell to nursing homes for elderly people. So you can see how you can start with a customer a market completely focused on boys, go to girls, go to families, and then elderly. So these are all legitimate non-customer groups, by the way. But the more interesting, or the maybe more intriguing example that I can mention is Ecocem. You remember the cement company? So here, the idea of the non-customers is to think of build the whole ecosystem around your business. So you have, and you can be B2B, you have a direct customer who has a direct customer, distributors, retailers, and customers. So everybody's focused on the customer. But you have a lot of people along your value chain, including your suppliers, your distributors, influencers, and regulators. So Ecocem had developed, as I mentioned, you know, this new cement, which was, you know, as performant and high quality as Portland cement. Now the only problem is that the cement industry is in an oligopoly. I mean, you have like a few dominant players who completely lock the whole business, and they have very strong relationships with construction companies and developers. So when Ecocem came and tried to propose their products to their customers, the competitors started to really poo-poo, you know, and criticize, and so there was no way, how, you know, independent of how good the product was, there was no way for them to actually make a dent into the market. So what I mentioned his name, you know, Donald Ryan did, and I'm sorry to say, but it took him almost 4 years. So instead of focusing on the customers, the construction companies and development companies, he went to see the regulators, and he spent 4 years in working with, you know, educating the committees, the regulatory committees, into this new technology called GGBS. They were very familiar with it, and it took him 4 years to explain, you know, educate them until they started to bring into the committees that decide, you know, on the standards, to bring in people who are familiar with this new GGBS technology. And finally, after 4 years, now the regulatory bodies included GGBS cement as a high quality, high-end cement in their regulations. And that completely opened the market. So you see, if you will, the innovation was not, you know, the innovation was there, but it was not focusing on the customer. He focused on somebody who could influence the customers, and this was the regulators. So that's what I mean by non-customers. So now, of course, we have a set of tools and techniques to, number one, identify who these non-customers are in your whole ecosystem. Sometimes it's the influencers, sometimes it's a supplier, it can be your distributors. And then once you know who these non-customers are, how to find an idea to unlock value for them.